Alrighty, so I am putting together this Walthers Surge bin. It is kit number 9. Let's see, 9332935. It's a Walthers Surge kit for Surge bin for grain operations. Okay. So first, they have you go through this bit. Okay. Just make sure you follow the pictures well. You can kind of see these little cutouts. They need to be positioned right, and then there's this little receiving notch that needs to be positioned right. Okay, these just go inside this channel here. You need to, I just space them evenly along the bottom, kind of like this, right? Right. And I just let it, I use some 1, 2, 3 blocks to keep it vertical, right? And then I just set it aside and let that dry. And I skip over this section here, okay? I just skipped over that. I'll come back to that because you mount that on top of this base, okay? And that receives this silo. Now I'm doing the rings of the silo. Pay attention to them. All right, just pay attention because they're made up of 1, 2, 3. 3 different numbers for the first ring, and they're times 2. And same thing for the second ring. 3 different numbers times 2. And then we get to the last 3 rings, and they are all the same numbers, number 28, okay? And this is what I've been doing, and you got to pay attention to a few orientations. All the tabs go up like these, right? And then you need to pay attention to, this is the starting ring, right? That's the starting ring here, okay? And you need to pay attention to these vertical pieces. What they do, I'm guessing they're going to sit into the uprights. Let me show you in this picture. See these, see where that first ring there is? And these uprights that connect to the base, which is down here, right? So they're going to correspond with these, okay? So don't put this on your first base, okay? For your first ring, just pay attention to the pictures, right? That's all. See that little notch there? It's a tiny little notch. But pay attention to those. The rest of them don't have any. Okay. Yeah, I'm just noticing something here where those notches line up. So I gotta, yeah. So I have to unglue. See, I made a mistake. I'll just run some glue along the back and unglue that and flip that around so this lines up with that. Let me show you. Let me just show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take some glue. I like this Mr. Cement. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, $3.99. You can't beat that, man. That's a good deal. $3.99 at Hobby Lobby. All right, I just run some glue and that'll loosen up the glue, which is nice, right? So now I'm gonna pull this off. See how it comes off? And I'm just going to rotate it and reline it up. And then press it down just to, so you saw my mistake, get quick, fixed real quick, and all is well. Yeah, I just caught that. So pay attention to all the drawings and all, and you'll be all right. And it probably says it somewhere in the directions, but who reads directions? Just put a little more glue on here and the inside, soften it up again. Press my seams back together just so they close up. Kind of see how they line up now. And I think you're just going to, looks like you stagger these joints, but see, that's weird. They didn't show that, and man, it's kind of like really confusing because they have this, the first and second ring here, and those seams look like they are staggered, right? But they're not. I think it's more important maybe to get these lined up, right? And then I'll maybe stagger the rest of them. I don't know, because it just goes on top, and I don't think it matters, but maybe just to where the joint is, so that each panel kind of comes out a little different. I don't know, man. Yeah, I would think that, like, you don't want, see how, like, these two joints overlap? But I can't see how, let me pause this and come back. I'm babbling. Alright, so this is what I did. Alright, I made sure that number 24 on my panel was lining up with number 26, right? And that kind of worked out because it gave me that staggered joint like they have here inside, right? Like that. And these line up, okay? So just kind of, it only matters on this bottom one. The rest of them, you're going to do the same. You're going to stagger these inside, right? Oh, sorry. These parts inside, you're just going to stagger them. So, like, and what I'm also doing is, I'll show you, there's the little nibs on the bottom from the sprues. Sanding those, right? Make sure you sand those because they're going to help on lining up, right? So that's what I'm doing. Sanding those nibs and the nibs on the top too, because they're all going to line up, right? And you don't want separation, right? And so I'm going to put this together in a second or two and show you what I'm doing there. It makes it easier. And there's little nibs at the top, and I'm going to sand them. I'm not going to bore you with that. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I put them together. So I sanded all my edges, right? Got that done. And these don't matter how they go together, okay? So I'll bring you back to that. For glue wise, I think this liquid cement from Hobby Lobby is the best bargain, and it works good. It's quick. You can reapply glue to soften things, right? Which helps a lot if you misalign something, put a part on wrong, that sort of thing. So this is how I'm doing it, and I found it easier to do it this way. Glue it up in halves, right? It's easier once you do that to let that set up and get good and cured, and then put them together as a whole. It just seems to work better for me. Just make sure you get your joints aligned, right? Your little seams. That's it. And make sure you're working on a flat surface. That helps too. I'm working on my cutting mat. You can work on a piece of glass. Don't work on a piece of plexiglass, a piece of styrene, anything like that you can glue things to. Glass would be the best. Right. You can kind of see how the joint isn't quite lined up, and I just line it up, and now I can see that this isn't flush, so I just put a little more cement on it and put an aluminum roller here, and kind of, it's a nice flat hard surface, so I can get these joints flush, right? Set that aside. You can see these are the same way. I'll just put a little glue on the back of it. Press it down. Get it all flush. And then just let this dry. And then on our last ring, we are going to cut these tabs off. And then you can put the roof on, the bottom on. This would be the roof, this would be the bottom, and you're good to go. Then all the little accessories, ladders, cages, yada 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 yada. Bring you back when I get a little further. And once I get it all together, then I'll prime it as a whole, and then start weathering it and things like that. So again, here's my kit. It's a Walthers Surge band. It is part of the grain elevator facility, and it is 933-2935. One of the nice things, one of the nice things here with the directions is they give you a possible layout arrangement for using these structures. So you got grain bins, grain conveyors, This is the storage bin or surge bin here. Um, Different conveyor legs, a dry grain hopper, a head house, bigger grain thing, and then in here somewhere you can incorporate a grain dryer. And that's what this other kit is that I've already assembled, and I started priming this little grain dryer. It looks like a giant, I don't know, engine or something. And that is it right there in this picture. So the grain dryer would sit in between here. All right, so we're getting to doing the roof and the bottom. So you'll notice that there's notches in the roof, and they correspond with these notches here. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Just gonna run some glue around. It's a pretty straightforward kit to put together so far, but you know, there's these little things that you need to keep in mind, you know, for everything to like go together easy. Right? Just like that. Otherwise, you'll be trying to force it and it's not going to go. Right? So we'll just let that dry and work on the other parts. So this was the most frustrating part, this part. To glue this, and then, so what I did was I glued up sections. I took two posts and I put the bracing between. Pay attention to the posts because there's little notches in here that the bracing goes against. It doesn't register in, it just goes against it. Okay? Doesn't lock in or anything. So you pay attention to that. So I glued up these sections. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. I glued up those flat. Then I started gluing them one by one onto here, right? And I would glue the next one and then put this part, let me show you on the kit itself. So I would glue up this section, right? And then you glue up this section and then you add this bracing in the middle. That was a pain, okay? Because you got these fragile sections, right, that are just glued to this base, right? And then, you know, and some of these are bent. That's how they came. It's supposed to sit. This is supposed to be flush with this, but that is a whole nother thing that is a pain, okay? Getting them glued in, holding it, and then working your way around. So it's a pain. Gluing up these parts, each ring wasn't too bad, but you can see where there's gaps. I'm not filling them or anything. So that's just how it is, right? You will only see this side and that ladder because it'll be like this facing on my layout. Okay, this is how it'll be on my layout, facing this way. Right. Ladders, no big deal. Ladder was pretty easy. This was pretty easy. This part was pretty easy. There's another ladder that goes from here down, from here down. I'm pretty much done. Okay. I primed it. I'll prime it again because I didn't prime it with the ladders. So I'll prime it again. And I'm not too worried about these little sprue marks because you won't see it. It's a pretty fragile piece, this cage. So the cage comes and then the ladder. Let me show you on the direction. So you can kind of see here where, you know, the cage and the ladder are separate, and you glue them together, and then you glue them onto the building. The little platform was pretty easy. It wasn't bad. It was straightforward. So it's pretty much almost done. And then I'll weather it and whatever, do other things to it. Add some piping. I need to add piping too. So what this is going to serve for me on my layout, I think Walthers calls this thing a surge bin. I don't quite know what a surge bin is, but I am going to use it as a drying bin. So grain that needs to be dried will first go into here, get dried with the dryer under here, and then it will get fed into one of my silos. You know, so say like one silo section will be all wet grain, I guess. I don't know. This is how I'm making it up. I don't know if this is how it really is or not, but it's how I'm making it up. I see, I don't know. I don't know if this should have been oriented one time over this roof and that ladder would go into here. Whatever it is, because I can't get that off. Anyway, pay attention. You know, and it's videos like this that help the next person put this kit together, because the directions totally majorly suck. But then again, you know, yeah, that's how it is. So that ladder should have been here. It should have wound up in this area. I can't do nothing about it. I can't unglue that section. So it's just how it is. Because I guess they would walk up this part of the roof. Yeah, who cares? But so you know, when you do this kit, pay attention, right? The ladder needs to line up with this part here, okay? My mistakes is your game. How's that? And otherwise, I mean, you know, I talk about this all the time. This kit was like $37. Not much to this kit. You see it, right? But I think the directions just could be a little better. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I don't know. It's just my opinion. But hopefully this video helps you put this together better than I put it together. I think what I'll do is bring you back when I start weathering it. Or maybe not even. Maybe we'll end this video here, and I'll make a separate video of weathering it. How's that? So we'll kind of call this built, and we'll let this video come out. It's a little long, but if you're building it, if you're building this kit, I think it's worth it to watch the video, just because I show you a lot of the problems that I ran into and the screw-ups that I did. Be well, be blessed. Subscribe to the channel if you're not, and I'll see you on the next build.